the dark room. That room was like an island and a four-storied building with just enough to space to keep one single mattress, two buckets, 2 square feet aluminum trunk, and semi-automatic washing machine that had managed to fit in that place, ignoring what a misfit it was in that place. Bright light poured into that teeny room, waking up the Hastakshepa who had managed to stretch his leg on washing machine and sleep. A few cigarette butts, empty liquor sachets, flattened crown caps of bottles were scattered carelessly around the mattress. Three empty bottles stood right in the middle of the room and stared at the roof. They were in the same state of drunk Hastakshepa had left them before he dozed off last night. It also meant that he had not moved since then and had not woken up yet. He was still not in the senses. Empty bottles with their mouths open had spread enough to stink in that teeny room. Hastakshepa was sleeping with his body curled up like a baby in the mother's womb. His body slowly uncoiled with a stretched facing the roof. A cool breeze uncovered his forehead, which was covered by a thin, soft, wheel like hair until then. At the edge of his lips were stains of turmeric powder and spices of sambar he had eaten last night. He had not even washed his hands after eating. A few grains of rice and dal were still stuck in his finger, and some dried up grains had fallen on mattress. The world outside had the world outside had already woken up, and the streets were buzzing with the early morning vegetable vendors shouting out the price per kilogram and attracting customers. Buy 1 kg onion for 60 rupees, buy 2 kg for 100. Some small vendors had made small heaps of vegetables and were offering them as small as 10 rupees a heap. The area in which he lived was very congested and streets looked like a tunnels with a small houses built adjacent to each other without leaving any gap in between for windows. They had popped up like a wild mushrooms in a different sizes and shapes. Even though the streets were hardly 8 to 9 feet wide, people had decorated them with colorful rangolis which welcomed the brand new day, new people, and new hopes. Hastakshepa was still in hangover, even though the sharp sunrise kissed his eyes persistently. His eyelids did not open. His stripped shirt was so worn out, faded that the tightly cotton threads were begging that he released every time he moved. An old calendar displaying the older dates, stuttering, doubting the strength of the rusted nail it was a hung onto. Puppet was walking past a truck that had stopped in the accident last night. Her slender body flashed for a few seconds in the broken side mirror of the truck. Her feet were themselves as if they were familiar and recognized every nook and corner of the area. They always found enough space to land no matter how many feet the streets were crowded with on her toes. Traces of the fading red nail paint showed brightly with pride, like the last sip of the tasty tea left in the bottom of the cup. Amita stepped inside her office thinking about how to deal the frustrating fairies waiting inside of her. She could see the office boy had already dusted her table and the computer. He had arranged the files neatly to the left corner of the table and even mopped the floor and had since start giving the space reflectively. The working as a broker in a real estate office, which had relatively better credibility in the town. She used to find home for rent, lease, and sale for the customers. She had a good reputation among the customers because of her hard work and involvement. She always took them by herself for site visit and or meditate between buyer and seller by arranging meetings. The owner of the real estate agency, Ganguly, her boss. knew that Papita could convince the customers with anything. He had decided to offer them brokerage services. He had seen her speak with confidence even while dealing with customers who asked for moon but with low budget. She could tell their face whether they would buy her stories or not. Even clinically women looking for vast complaints in apartment went out satisfied after she got them good deals. It was because her that agency made some profits and could pay her. It would have been of business had it not been that lady luck or charm that attract a decent number of customers. Ganguly knew that his shop would have ended up becoming a convenient place with a closed door for street boys to paste cinema poster and play cards. Papita was not a Papita was not always with this smart. In the initial days, her palms would sweat while talking to the customers, and her eyes are fluttered. She paused for a few minutes in search of the right words and looked at Ganguly for her puzzle. But Ganguly knew that it was just a matter of few days. Once she gets the knack of it, she might even surprise him. He, he taught her how to give an extremely optimistic picture of real estate while dealing with customers. He also gave her some tips to make them interested in the agency and believe that they are striking the best deal. In few weeks, Papita got turned, and then was no turning. She was confident she would never send a customer disappointed. To the left or To the left of her office was a small fresh fruit shop. To the right, Pandit shop that offered colorful Yakshagana costumes for rent. A small play school for kids and bicycle puncture shop with a heap worn out tires next to it. A fancy looking barber shop with mirrors everywhere was situated right in the front of it. All this Ganguly had managed to keep his office neatly and easily recognizable with a big name board. All the people from the different shops started their day with a nice hot tea and extra sugar. Around 9 o'clock, they used to gather outside the circle tea shop for a few minutes, savoring the tea and chit chatting. As usual, Rinku, a smart young boy from the barber shop, came to invite her for tea and ran away hurriedly out as if she had another important job to do. That morning, Papita had become very withdrawn and was lost in her thoughts. Random memories cluttered her mind. She could not dive into any one memory in a particular, but she knew that she could not afford to get carried away by those memories. She realized moments after Rinku left that someone had called her. She freed herself from the haunting memories and stepped out. The morning sunlight reflected from the mirrors of the barber shop and lit her face, rejuvenating her as she looked at herself in the mirror. She turned towards the circle that was 100 meters from her office. She could see some familiar faces of the people who worked in the some shop in the area, walking together, talking in excitement, already returned from the tea shop. She again turned towards the barber shop and looked up for her reflection in the mirror. But there was a already stranger with a gigantic personality still in front of it, almost covering it. There was no more light in the mirror. It was if the mirror was swallowing the man inch by inch slowly. She noticed that though he was a huge, sat like a kid, surrendering himself to the barber, and he was almost sleepy. She wondered how instantly people fell asleep the moment Baba touched their heads. There were other mirrors too, through the which his reflection was seen. The mirror seemed to be trying to get him through his sleep. They just could not care less about the role of her choice. They had to. at the moment of the barber shop. Papita remembered Hastakshepa, rough beard, stressed eyes, blinded cheeks, his weird behavior, his attitude and odd mannerism. She thought of visiting him, turned to walk towards his room. But immediately she dropped the idea. She was staring into space. She froze. There, is, there was a loud silence at the moment. Only she could listen to street buzzing with noises. Soon memories in various colors danced in front of her. The flames swayed all around the pan, but the moments got of the due to the evening wet hair. Every time wind blew, the trees dropped rain they had hidden within. He ignored her to enter, look below the truck. She shouted and taunted again. Hey, I am here only, not beneath the truck. Hastakshepa held her hand and made her touch the dry land. Hey, touch this. It is so warm, not just rain. But if look at these things, something stares with you. Pakita giggled and looked at him strangely. That was that was how Shepa lived. He looked at the complexity of life, simply things unexplored by others. He found great amusement in staring at the empty teacups disowned by people moment after releasing tea at the canteen. He used to teary-eyed when those same classes were getting washed by scrub made of coconut coir by an old woman 70 years with her trembling hands, as if they were her children and she was parting them. Another day, when he was with Papita, sitting at the canteen table waiting for the food, a little boy with a blunt nose, wearing an oversized, colorless shirt, cleaned their table with a sponge dipped in soap solution. It left curves of tiny droplets on the table. Hastashilpa just walked out canteen and sat on the footpath speechless for hours. Papita had made fun of him many times. Which world are you living in? I don't think being so emotional about everything could do any good for you or to the world. Sometimes you remind me, sentimental woman, watching a mega TV, tropes and hurling abusers at the villains are crying along with the characters, silently blowing their noses into their saris. Look at me. I deal with so many people every day. I can't afford to mourn for days when you hear about orphaned dead body found in the gutter or about the single mother who had sent half her breast milk to eat. The show must go on, isn't it? And if I sit and worry about all these things daily, who will earn and take off your drinks, cigarettes, and biryani? Tell me. Her gentle warning did not affect Astakshepa though. He never settled with one employer or a house or an area for more than 3 months. He hardly learnt from his previous experience and got disturbed at the slightest provocations. Then he never returned to apologize or set things right. He was a science graduate. Papita projected him as a great scholar and got him a job many times at the medical shops. Even those shops, they used to ask for his experience. In those instances, Papita used to charm them and convince them and that he was a great learner. He has already got a license to open a medical shop by himself. It's just a matter of a few months, but is usually hardly after peak. He used to run away from he used to run away from them sometimes when terribly bored. He used to go cinema talkies next to vegetable market to watch the same movie straight for 4 shows. It was a small talkies that has lost its charm with 80 balcony seats in 25 Gandhi class seats. It resembled the deserted antique museum. The walls had not seen fresh painting in decades. The screen had a long slit on a one edge. Some of the bulb holders are broken. The roof looked The roof leaked when it rained. The cushioned seats were torn at many places, and one could dig out dried up flowers, hardened chewing gum. Long ago, a Tamil cinema had run successfully for 100 days. On that occasion, fans had freaked out huge cutouts of the hero, decked up with heavy flower and garlands, other decoratives. They had not been removed from the darkness of the talkies even after had passed. The cutout stayed there along the huge applause, visuals, crazy dancing by the fans on the mud floor, a feet away from the screen. Flowers and coins which are thrown in the excitement to show their love for the actor. Nagesh, who who worked as a helper at the talkies, collected ticket, assisted to audience to with a torch to find their seats once the lights went out, captured all these moments in his torch and let them go out through the emergency exit. However, they all come back to the main entrance in the form of new and old emotions filled the hall. Nagesh, who had kyphosis, was a married but he lived alone. When the Nagesh found Hastakshapa to be a nut case,
Excuse me. Could it be shortened a little bit without compromising the meaning of the story? Could it be? If possible. Huh? Okay. It's quite long.
the next day he went to Nagesh, asked him to talk to his owner about the job. This time, asked him typical interview question, "What is your experience?" and asked him to report to duty immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice, touching story. I admire your view of subaltern view of the people living in the lower strata of life. It is quite good to hear. The thing is that by simply hearing, it is very difficult to go to the nuances, the inner meaning of all the stories. Still, whatever I can make out, it's a very good story. Now, I ask Mrs. Girima Gare Khan to render her story. It is probably in Hindi. Yeah, translated. Originally, it was in Gujarati, translated into Hindi.
इस मंच को नमस्कार। लेट्स शेयर आप सबको नमस्कार। ओरिजिनली गुजराती में लिखी हुई मेरी कहानी हिंदी में मैं प्रस्तुत करती हूँ। शीर्षक है टुकड़ा। मैडम साहब ने याद किया है। चपरासी ने 2 बार अर्पिता से कहा। नीचे देखकर काम कर रही अर्पिता की उंगलियां कंप्यूटर के कीबोर्ड पर चलती रही। चपरासी इससे अभ्यस्त था। उसने अर्पिता के टेबल पर हाथ की उंगलियों से दस्तक दी और तीसरी बार और जोर से वही वाक्य कहा, मैडम साहब ने याद किया है। अर्पिता ने चपरासी की ओर देखा, साहब की कैबिन की ओर देखा और चपरासी से आ रही हूं का इशारा किया। आगे बैठे हुए ठाकर और मिताली पीछे मुड़कर देख रहे थे, इसलिए उसे ख्याल आया, आज भी मगन भाई को 2-3 बार तो कहना ही पड़ा होगा। ऐसा क्यों होता होगा? वह स्वयं एक ही जगह पर पूरी तरह से क्यों नहीं रह सकती होगी? फिर से काम में कोई भूल हुई होगी, तभी तो साहब बुलाएंगे ना। काम करते समय चित्त घर की ओर क्यों दौड़ जाता है? माहिर के पास तो लता बहन केयरटेकर होती है, तो फिर अर्पिता साहब से मिलकर लौट आई, थोड़ी डांट डपट भी सुनकर आई। साहब बोल रहे थे, तब भी तो अर्पिता के मन का एक टुकड़ा घर भाग ही गया। कल रात माहिर ने ठीक से खाया नहीं था, कुछ बुखार सा भी था। अभी खाया होगा, बुखार बढ़ा तो नहीं होगा ना? इसलिए ही साहब के शब्द अर्पिता के कान के आस-पास चक्कर काट रहे थे। बाद में जिसे मौका मिला, वे अंदर चले गए और शेष सारे वहां कैबिन में ही मंडराते रहे होंगे। अर्पिता सॉरी सॉरी कहती हुई बाहर निकल आई। आकर कुछ देर तक वह कुर्सी पर बैठी रही। वह स्वयं क्यों ऐसे 2-3 भाग बढ़ जाती। सौरभ को तो ऐसा जरा भी पसंद नहीं था। वह तो प्रेम करता हो और उसे लगे कि अर्पिता एक क्षण के लिए भी वहां से गैरहाजिर हो गई है, तो उसका मूड ऑफ हो जाता। जब तुम मेरे पास होती हो, तब तुम्हें पूरा का पूरा मेरे पास होना चाहिए। फिलहाल तो अर्पिता का मन और शरीर दोनों एक साथ रह ही नहीं सकते थे। जब ऑफिस में जाए, तब उसका शरीर कुर्सी पर बैठता था, हाथ कंप्यूटर चालू करते थे। जो कुछ भी पढ़ना होता था, उसकी आंखें पढ़ लेती थी और फिर दिमाग का एक टुकड़ा काम में व्यस्त हो जाता था। दूसरा टुकड़ा लगभग घर में ही रहता था, माहिर के पास। घर जाने पर शरीर माहिर को खाना खिलाता, सहलाता, लाड करता, सुलाता और तब मन बंद ऑफिस के किवाड़ खोलकर ऑफिस में पहुंच जाता था। कल क्या काम करना है? काम तो खुद से करना ही पड़ेगा। नौकरी गंवाना पुसाए ऐसा नहीं। शरीर को तो उसका किराया चुकाना ही पड़ेगा और माहिर का शरीर तो ज्यादा किराया मांगता था। खान पान उपरांत डॉक्टर की फीस, लताबेन की तनख्वाह, दवाइयाँ और बहुत कुछ। उसके बाद घर में मन लगता है। कल ऑफिस जाकर जल्दी जल्दी सारा काम निपटा दूंगी। अच्छी तरह से प्रमोशन मिले तो तनख्वाह बढ़ेगी। माहिर के भविष्य के लिए बचत करना भी बहुत जरूरी था। वह जब नहीं रहेगी, तब उसे जीवन भर किसी आश्रम में रखने की व्यवस्था तो करनी ही पड़ेगी। कभी धक्का खाली चलाकर हाथ फैला रहे भिखारी देखने मिलने पर वह सिहर उठती थी। होते तो फिर मन उठकर पुनः जिंदगी के मोहनजोदड़ो पर सैर कर रहा था। क्या था? मिताली ने मुड़कर पूछा। कुछ नहीं, इतना काम आज पूरा कर देना है। अर्पिता ने सामने देखा। स्क्रीन ब्लैंक हो गया था। उसकी उंगलियां कीबोर्ड पर थिरकने लगी। शाम को ऑफिस का काम लेकर वह घर के लिए निकली। रात को माहिर के सो जाने के बाद काम पूरा कर लूंगी। अब तो प्रमोशन मिलनी ही चाहिए। लता बहन तनख्वाह बढ़ाने के लिए कह रही थी। दवाइयां भी कितनी महंगी हो गई है। रात को माहिर के सो जाने के बाद अर्पिता ने लैपटॉप खोला। अपडेट करने पर भी इंटरनेट की स्पीड बहुत कम हो गई थी। 5 साल हुए, फिर तो वह पुराना ही लगेगा नहीं। सौरभ लाया था शादी के तुरंत बाद। प्रेगनेंसी के वक्त तो वह हर हफ्ते उसकी तस्वीरें खींचकर सेव कर लेता था। एक अलग ही फाइल बना रखी थी। अर्पिता कहती थी, तुम तो पगला गए हो। वह अर्पिता की बगल में सोकर उसके ऊपर को हाथ से सहलाता रहता था। इसे तुम पागलपन कहती हो? पागलपन तो तुम तब देखना जब मैं अपने बच्चे को पहली बार हाथ में लूंगा। पहला महीना तो मैं रोज उसकी फोटो लेता रहूंगा। फिर हर हफ्ते रोज रोज उसका प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट लिखकर सेव करता रहूंगा। आई विल बी अ परफेक्ट फादर फॉर माई चाइल्ड। एक्चुअली मोर देन परफेक्ट। 2 परफेक्ट व्यक्तियों का चाइल्ड डबल परफेक्ट होगा ही ना। माहिर का जन्म हुआ, उसके बाद सौरभ तो लगभग बौरा ही गया था। मारे आनंद के नहीं, बल्कि आघात। ईश्वर माहिर की जंघाओं के नीचे वाले पैर बनाना ही भूल गए थे। पहली बार अर्पिता ने उसे देखा, तब वह भी चीख पड़ी थी। डॉक्टर, इसके पैर? फिर चित्त भ्रम हुआ हो ऐसे प्रश्न पूछ बैठी थी। अंदर टूट गए होंगे। नीचे वाला टुकड़ा अंदर तो नहीं रह गया डॉक्टर, प्लीज देखिए ना। उसके बाद सौरभ अस्पताल में आया नहीं था। अर्पिता को उसके शब्द याद आते, मैं जिंदगी में कभी भी किसी की अपूर्णता का स्वीकार कर ही नहीं सकता। मुझे कोई भी चीज टुकड़ों टुकड़ों में स्वीकार्य नहीं है। आई वॉन्ट इट होल। फिर भी अर्पिता अस्पताल में अपना मन मना लेती थी। यह तो इनिशियल शॉक है, धीरे धीरे सब ठीक हो जाएगा। पर कुछ भी ठीक नहीं हुआ। अर्पिता माहिर में, उसके शरीर के अलग परीक्षण करने में, डॉक्टरों से बातचीत में, इंटरनेट पर उपाय खोजने में व्यस्त हो गई। उस वक्त मानो उसने वैवाहिक जीवन को ताक पर चढ़ा दिया था। सौरभ को अर्पिता से टुकड़ों में मिलने वाला प्रेम मंजूर नहीं था। उसने नीलिमा में अपना संपूर्ण सुख खोज दिया। अर्पिता ने लैपटॉप बंद किया और सोए हुए माहिर की ओर ताकती रही। 4 साल का हुआ। यदि सौरभ सी हाइट होने वाली हो और पूरा शरीर होता तो अभी वह 4x6 का पलंग आधा रोका होता। दूसरे दिन तो वह निश्चय करके ही ऑफिस गई थी। आज तो देर तक बैठकर भी काम पूरा कर लेना है। साहब ने अल्टीमेटम दे दिया था, कल सुबह तक यह फाइल मुझे मेरे कंप्यूटर में चाहिए। अर्पिता काम करती थी। काम पूरा करके साहब को फाइल फॉरवर्ड करके जब बाहर निकली, तब भीगे मौसम की पहली बरसात हो रही थी। 9 महीनों से आकाश की कैद में धरा हुआ पानी आपकी छाती चीरकर पुरजोर बाहर निकला था। भागे हुए कैदी को खोजने के लिए चपला बार बार चमक रही थी और पीछे आ रहे बादल पुलिस की हाके और ललकारे भी। भोपाल जाने के लिए बस स्टॉप पर कोई भी नहीं था। रास्ते पानी में डूब गए। बसें चालू होंगी भी या नहीं। 2 बार घर से लताबेन का फोन आ चुका। उन्हें देर हो रही थी। पर इतनी दूर से रिक्शा के तो कितने सारे पैसे होंगे। थोड़ी देर तो बस रास्ता दिस्ता देखना ही होगा। माहिर क्या करता होगा। अच्छा, अर्पिता को जोर से उड़े पानी की छींटों ने भिगो दिया। एक नई नवेली गाड़ी वहां आकर खड़ी हो गई। एक युवक उस गाड़ी का दरवाजा खोलकर उसे कह रहा था, सुबह ऑफिस आते तो मैं कई बार आपको बोपल के बस स्टॉप पर देखती हूँ। मैं उससे आगे थोड़ी दूर रहता। आना है? अर्पिता ने शून्य नजर से उसकी ओर देखा। इस समय ऐसी बारिश में आपके जैसी सुंदर स्त्री को स्वाभाविक है किसी पर भरोसा नहीं बैठेगा। पर बिलीव मी, मैं एक निहायत शरीफ इंसान हूँ। आपको आपके घर पहुंचा दूंगा। घर पहुंचा दूंगा। इस वाक्य का यह आखिरी टुकड़ा अर्पिता के दिमाग में प्रविष्ट हुआ और वह गाड़ी में बैठ गई। हाय, मैं मोहित। मैं यहाँ आगे एक मल्टीनेशनल कंपनी में काम करता हूँ। आपका ऑफिस भी यहीं कहीं होना चाहिए। मुझे ख्याल है रास्ते टूटे-फूटे हैं, पर क्या आप गाड़ी थोड़ी तेज चला सकते हो? सारा रास्ता मोहित चुपचाप गाड़ी चलाता रहा। बोपल का स्टैंड आया, अतः गाड़ी रोककर अर्पिता की ओर देखा। यहाँ नहीं, थोड़े दूर और आगे शिलाजीत बिल्डिंग। ओके, मैं यहाँ से आगे पारिजात में रहता हूँ। बस यहाँ पर। अर्पिता जल्दी जल्दी उतरकर बिल्डिंग की ओर दौड़ी, फिर कुछ याद आते ही तुरंत लौटी। गाड़ी चालू करते हुए मोहित ने उसका घबराहट में कहा गया थैंक यू सुनकर थोड़ा मुस्कुराकर गाड़ी को बढ़ा दिया। अर्पिता घर में गई और तुरंत लता बहन निकल गई। उन्होंने माहिर को खिलाकर सुला दिया था। अर्पिता मुंह धोने के लिए गई और कान पर लटक रहे शब्दों ने धीरे धीरे कान में प्रवेश किया। आपके जैसी सुंदर स्त्री मैं आपको रोज देखता। सुंदर अर्थात क्या? सुंदर शब्द ने उसे कब छुआ था? माहिर के जन्म के बाद हताश सौरभ से उसने एक बार कहा था, तुम एक बार इसकी ओर देखो तो सही, इसका चेहरा कितना सुंदर है। आजकल मेडिकल साइंस कितना आगे बढ़ गया है। माहिर की प्रॉब्लम का तो कोई भी उपाय होगा ही। तब सौरभ ने उससे कहा था, सुंदर माय फुट, इंजीनियर हूँ अर्पिता, इतना तो समझता ही हूँ। कि अच्छी वस्तु यदि बिगड़े तो किसी भी तरह रिपेयर हो सकती है, पर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डिफेक्ट हो तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डिफेक्ट बोलते वक्त उसने सविशेष रूप से अर्पिता की आंखों में देखा था। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डिफेक्ट हो तो कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता, ऐसी वस्तु को तो कंपनी को वापस ही लेना होगा। तत्पश्चात सौरभ कुछ विचित्र ढंग से इधर उधर हाथ उछाल रहे माहिर की ओर देखता रहा था। अर्पिता कांप उठी। उसके बाद उसने कभी भी माहिर को सौरभ के पास अकेला छोड़ा नहीं था। वैसे सुबह ऑफिस जाने के समय तक तो तुम्हारे जैसी सुंदर स्त्री, इन शब्दों ने अर्पिता के दिमाग में अड़िंगा जमा दिया था। रोज लता बहन के पीछे पीछे चलते हुए उनको सूचनाएं देते हुए पौनी बांधती रही अर्पिता ने आज आईने के सामने खड़े कर उनको सारी सूचनाएं दी। आईना भी हर्षित हुआ। आज कितने समय के बाद इस रूपसी ने उसके अंतरतम में झांका था। फिर तो लगभग हर रोज सुबह अर्पिता को देखकर मोहित ने गाड़ी को खड़ा रखना शुरू कर दिया। शाम के वक्त वह कई बार साथ हो जाता था। अर्पिता के चेहरे ने मेकअप का नए सिरे से परिचय प्राप्त किया। माहिर को केंद्र में रखकर जी रही अर्पिता के जीवन वृत्त की परिधि पर मोहित नामक एक नया बिंदु शामिल हो गया था। अर्पिता की माहिर तक खींची हुई त्रिज्या के सामने वह बिंदु भी विस्तारित होकर कभी कभी केंद्र को छू लेता था। अर्पिता को लगता था कि ये दोनों त्रिज्याएं मिलकर एक व्यास बन जाता है जिसके बीच माहिर का बिंदु होता है। मोहित कई बार अर्पिता के घर भी जाता था। माहिर को लाड़ लड़ा रही अर्पिता को देखता रहता था और कॉफी पीकर चला जाता। एक अनंत लग रहे टनल में यकायक प्रकाश कनी उतर आई थी और उसने टनल को उजियारे से नहला दिया था। अर्पिता को तो कभी कभार टनल के छोर से आ रही रोशनी भी दिखाई देती थी। उस दिन भी मोहित आया था। बातें कुछ ज्यादा ही हो गई। कॉफी जरा ज्यादा स्ट्रांग हो गई। कॉफी की महक अन्य बेडरूम तक फैलती हुई पहुंच गई। उस बेडरूम का पलंग तो मारे खुशी के महकने लगा। एक लंबे अंतराल के बाद आज उसे सहवास प्राप्त हुआ था। अर्पिता को लग रहा था बरसों बाद आज शायद पहली बार वह उन टुकड़ों में बटी हुई नहीं थी। शरीर और मन सब कुछ एक ही जगह पर। तभी अचानक माही के जोर जोर से रोने की आवाज आई और गले में गाउन डालती हुई अर्पिता बगल वाले बेडरूम में दौड़ गई। नींद में करवट लेते लेते माहिर नीचे गिरा था। हमेशा उसका सहारा बनकर सोने वाली अर्पिता को आज सिरहाना रखना याद नहीं आया। अर्पिता ने जोर जोर से रो रहे माहिर को उठाकर उसका माथा सहलाया। माथे के पीछे वाले हिस्से में भारी सूजन आ गई। पीछे पीछे आए हुए मोहित के हाथ में रो रहे माहिर को रखकर अर्पिता बर्फ लाने के लिए अंदर दौड़ गई। वापस लौटी तब मोहित वहां नहीं था और माहिर बिछोने में उलट पालट हो रहा था। अर्पिता ने माहिर की सूजन पर बर्फ मली और देर तक उसके टुकड़े शरीर पर हाथ मलती हुई अभी अभी ही खुलकर बंद हुए किवाड़ की ओर ताकती रही। बाहर अचानक मेघ तांडव शुरू हुआ था। बीते हुए तूफान का मौसम फिर से आया। आकाश को जलाकर जलते हुए तीर की भांति नीचे आ रही बिजलियां बंद दरवाजे की अपारदर्शकता को बेध कर अर्पिता के धुंधला कर जलते हुए कलेजे में ज्यादा आग भर जाती। उसके पीछे आ रही सिंह गर्जना जैसे बादलों का गर्जन उसके हृदय में घुसकर दहाड़ता। हाथी की सूंड सी मेघ धाराएं अर्पिता की कोरी आंखों की जमीन में विलीन हो जाती हो ऐसा लगता था। पवन के भारी बलिष्ठ हाथ पूरी ताकत के साथ किवाड़ को जोर जोर से हिला रहे थे। पंच महाभूतों ने इसके विरुद्ध जंग शुरू की थी। यह क्या? दरवाजे में अनेक दरारें पड़ी और वह छोटे छोटे टुकड़ों में बंट गया हो, ऐसा अर्पिता को क्यों दिखने लगा? उसे लग रहा था कि उन दरारों से धीरे धीरे रूम की हवा बाहर खींची जाने लगी। समग्र अस्तित्व पर यह किसका दबाव? वह दबती गई, उछलती गई, पीसती गई, चूर चूर होकर दरवाजे के दरारों में समा गई। थैंक यू।
Hello.
It's a nice story. Being herself a female, very from female point of view, she can observe the whole gamut of the story, or Peter's story rather. And the tagline of the story, so many good sentences was there inside. मुझे टुकड़ों टुकड़ों में नहीं चाहिए, I want it whole. मुझे अच्छा लगा. और so many options are being opened up while a person is pushed to the wall. She has tried her best, level best, to explore all the possibilities and the shortcomings of being a female and the misconception being prevailed over the female gender as a whole. Thanking both of you, Sasi and Girima. Uh, thing is that I do have my own story also. Being in this year, I don't know whether I can go through. Still, in short, I'll read my story also, and I will conclude this session by reading my own story. Please bear with me. It was a original Assamese story translated into English by myself, by the author. Name is Geometry. Here it goes. Late night dream. A big figure of zero came rolling on the ground like a proverbial elephant apple and whispered to my ear in my sleeping posture, "You are a big, big zero." Maybe yes, I won't object to it. I do not have any inflated ego about myself. But you are also a big zero, isn't it? No, I am a circle. It is a common blunder people often do. No, don't talk nonsense. Going by the mere shape, how could you call zero a circle? You do like you do look like the alphabet O also. Should I re-question you as alphabet O too? And then all of a sudden I came back to my awakened self with a jerk. Nowadays, this is how I fall asleep or wake up from sleep as if living in a half sleep state all the time. The zero that claimed to be a circle could have gone on justifying its claim
Had I lent it my ear, this is virtually a game of identity crisis. The problem of bestowing on a shape to zero at the time of its invention was solved by giving it the shape of the moon, which was in the full moon mode that time. What a cosmic connection! An alphabet might have got its shape keeping in mind the shape of the lips in kissing mode while pronouncing it. And thus, O is always round to the fullest with pent up winds of love inside, while zero lacks it miserably. 40. I love circles. It is only the circle that knows the ecstasy of staying contracted while being full. This art of being contracted while full is also practiced by a baby in the time of its birth. A polygon lacks this art of getting small without losing its content. This extreme love for circle had cost me heavily. The girl I settled to marry 2 decades back was a personified compilation of so many concentric circles, superimposing themselves to be some attractive spheres. After 2 decades now, my wife has become herself an additional a Rapacial three-dimensional circle. No body shaming, please. Please take it as a benign joke. Arranging circles artistically is how a flute created. The lyrical rendition of a flute from afar. It is dead of in the dead of night would carry me away to a supernatural world of heavenly bliss. That day I was dumbfounded to see a high resolution photo of the lunar surface. Millions of circles were scattered all over. The circle of rocks. I want to witness the growing process of a living rock in the darkness of a no moon night. A living rock might have a million of secrets to tell. I want to lend my ear for listening to it. But how could I tolerate a zero talking all the rubbish, taking advantage of its look of being circular? No way. I like a hexagon too. That is why I like the architecture of a beehive, the cross section of a snowflake. My love for a triangle makes me love the peak of the Kochiatoli mountain, the nose of the lady I love, monitoring a love triangle with a great interest. Geometric lines come to my dream taking various forms. Dreams keep visiting me loaded with Vasco Popa and Lorca's poetry. Simple me, understanding only the simple things in life, could hardly understand the nuances of a poem, and I am losing nothing for that. Once a yellow snake came to me in dream and kept looking at me lovingly from a distance with no intention of a bite. It remained a mystery for me. Why the male sex symbols visit me without any apparent intention? It was beyond my comprehension. Why the carved line in the form of a snake wanted to be a straight line that night? In reality, the list of things I don't possess is such a long that I behave indifferently if somebody calls me a zero. I am rich of my dreams only. In my younger days, I dreamt of recovering accidentally a 1 rupee coin dug deep under a sandy road while going to school on foot. 1 rupee meant 10 packets of wild jujube, 5 packets of hazmi, and a handful of sanasur. What more do I need? As time advanced, the nature of dreams kept changing. People started coming to my dreams instead of coins. Some prehistoric mammoths came occasionally to my dreams that made me realize the smallness of my body and worth. Sometimes I dreamt of appearing at some school examinations for which I had hardly any preparation. Sometimes I was pretty late at the examination halls for no apparent reasons. On the other day, I saw myself crying in front of a dead body, about to be laid to rest, and astonishingly, I was not knowing the person who died. At some later years, sexuality had an access to my dreams, tried to make my dreams wet and sticky. My mother went through some episodes of anxiety seeing the geographical maps in my underwears. Poor me. While going to my school in my childhood, I witnessed the anxious looks of the sweets of different shapes and tastes from the almirahs of Sapon sweets on my way. I felt so helpless. Climbing up more than the height of a samosa was indeed a luxury. I kept on assuring my mind that I would have the costliest suite in the costliest hotel of the locality someday after grabbing a high paying job. But I but could I actually wait that long? At night I had an opportunity to taste the finest sweet of the Sapon sweets in dream. The demonic officer of the hotel with a huge mustache invited me to favor him by having the sweet I liked the most for no apparent reason. But it was a total disillusionment. The taste was an ordinary as the taste I had after consuming a swaguti while in my childhood. Maybe dreams too have got their own limitations. They are incapable of providing you a taste you never had before. Or is it a natural practice of dreams to nullify your desire for a taste you have never actually experienced? With advancing age, my emotions have lost sharpness. Eyes have started avoiding deep colors. The body has lost its reflexes, and nocturnal dreams have virtually ceased to appear. Of late, even the zombie come in to pamper out. These days, I have been spending sleepless nights thinking how could I keep geometry ever relevant. Nowadays, my ever eluding sleep has started playing hide and seek, aggravating my anxiety. It's a beautiful morning today. Entering my room through the window, the sun has whispered in my ears to wake up, sir. I looked at the sun journeying through a couple of clouds apprehensively and was stunned by the beauty of a illuminating circle. My little son was staring at me who had slept with me overnight. I saw two beautiful circles in his eyes. While coming out my bedroom in a state of drowsiness, I was greeted by the pomelo tree by the side of the veranda. There were 10 circles hanging from the branches of the tree. Oh, what a visual treat! That bronzeback tree snake with an hero figure has come out for a morning stroll, peeping from one tree to the other. What a beautiful curved line! My better half is busy with a bucket full of clean laundry, preparing to hang that in the sun by using hangers on the line. The horizontal bamboo bar smiled at me. What a beautiful straight line indeed. There remained a single cow in the cow shed. It is her breakfast time. Responding to my question, how have you spent the night, dear? She stared at me lovingly, thinking how best this question could be answered. Her two horns appeared to me a pair of cones, and her vigilant ears were like two upright triangles. My other half has been spreading mustard seeds on a bamboo platter in the courtyard. The moment I went near to the platter, thousands of geometric points wished me a good morning. To avoid a sunburn, I went into my bedroom through the pores and saw the worn out vanity bag of my wife hanging on the wall like an emotional trapezium. Even after repeated requests, I could not buy her a new trapezium. Monetary constraints apart, I have never been a good husband material. Finally, I dreamed an absurd dream at night. All geometric figures I love came to me queuing up and singing a chorus in unison. I started to dance with them to the point of exhaustion and sat down on the ground with them after finishing the dance drama. All of a sudden, all the figures started speaking to me in a single voice. That is what love is all about. Commencing in dreams, it keeps spreading to the reality, and this process continues till dreams percolate to the reality in toto. So do not get upset if we could not visit you in your dreams. We do no longer own the night. For you, we are more real now. We all have come together at this odd hour to make you realize this stark reality only. Thank you. And here we come to the conclusion of this story reading session. And it was a very enriching experience hearing my two colleagues over there, sitting over there, co-writers. Good stories indeed. And thank you all for a patient hearing. And it was started a bit late, and I hope it has been concluded in time. Thanking you all again. Bye.
थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर सच एन एंगेजिंग स्टोरी। हम सब ये महसूस कर रहे होंगे कि ये 3 कहानियाँ अलग-अलग भूखंडों से हमारे बीच में आई हैं और तीनों की जो मनस्थितियाँ हैं वो कितनी अलग-अलग हैं और फिर भी हमारी ज़िंदगी से कितना जुड़ जाती हैं। आज का ये बहुभाषीय कहानी पाठ का सत्र यहीं समाप्त होता है। आपके इस सहभागिता के लिए हम हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद। और हमारे साथ जो हमारे बहुत ही समझदार और कहानी के मर्म को पकड़ने वाले हमारे श्रोता बैठे हैं, आदरणीय आर्या साहब को देख रही हूँ मैं, रेखा जी को अभी कहीं देखा था मैंने। आप सभी का बहुत-बहुत अभिनंदन करते हुए अब इस सत्र को हम यहीं समाप्त कर रहे हैं और इसके बाद दूसरा सत्र होगा और उसके लिए हमारे बीच में आप सभी का हम एक बार ज़ोरदार तालियों से अभिनंदन करते हैं, बहुत आभार व्यक्त करते हैं।